Hello, everybody. Welcome to this video tutorial of the Natural Solutions tool. My name is Amy Heldman. I am a senior planner and GIS manager at Friends of the Chicago River. And today I'll be walking you through some introductory slides to the tool and the vision, and then going into a live demonstration of the tool itself. And then I'll end with some contact information for those of you who have questions or want additional trainings. And for those of you who aren't familiar with us at Friends of the Chicago River, our mission is to protect and restore the Chicago-Calumet River system for all people, water, and wildlife. And our vision is to see the Chicago-Calumet River system as a healthy, biodiverse, climate-resilient ecosystem with equitable open access for all. And we do work in 3 different program areas. So we have an education outreach team, an on-the-ground projects team, and a policy and planning team. And you can see some of the different program areas specific to those that we have here on this screen, but the Natural Solutions tool really came out of our policy and planning program area, where we utilize GIS and mapping technologies, which is a lot of my work. But as we all know, it does cross different programs, but the tool did really come out of an initiative from our policy and planning team. And our work area at Friends is we work throughout the Chicago-Calumet River system and the watersheds that span this geography. So you can read some of the stats on the screen here. But as you'll see, the tool itself, the boundary is a little bit more encompassing and has a broader boundary than what we work in as Friends. And now I want to talk a little bit about the story of the tool, how it came to be, and the vision. So vision for the Natural Solutions tool came out of our Greater Chicago Watershed Alliance, which is a coalition that Friends founded with other partners in 2020. And here we have some of the logos on the screen of those partners who are now participating in our coalition. And here, just highlighting some of the mission of the Watershed Alliance and what we strive to do. So we do focus on watershed-based stormwater management with a focus on nature-based solutions, right? So focusing on the multi-benefits that nature-based solutions provide and really promoting that watershed perspective when it comes to upstream sources to the downstream effects. And really also the formation of the Watershed Alliance was thinking about this cross-jurisdictional collaboration. As we know, water doesn't follow traditional jurisdictional boundaries, so it was really key to form this so we can talk about these different broader issues that we're facing with stormwater management. And this slide here is a visual that I like to talk about really. So we had this vision to strategy example, and that's really what the tool is. So we had this watershed vision, which you'll see on the left-hand side of the screen. Those boxes that you see are where the different data sets fall into, but really when we came up with the vision for the tool, we didn't know it was going to be a tool yet. We really knew that we wanted to focus on the multi-benefits of nature-based solutions, but we needed a strategy, right? And that's where we had the idea for the Natural Solutions tool. And the Trust for Public Land came to us as they serve on our coalition and told us about their Climate Smart Cities program. So really building off that model for the tool that we have here today that I'll show. And I'll briefly talk a little bit about the process of the tool building for transparency's sake, and then also to kind of let you all know how we came to the conclusion with the different data sets. So as I mentioned, of course, the idea came from the Greater Chicago Watershed Alliance, and then we went into this discovery process. So this was numerous conversations with partners talking about how big is the tool going to be, what's the boundary going to look like. And then we went into the technical advisory team process, which was over the course of summer 2022, where each month we focused on a different objective of the tool. So we would have 1 month talking about equity, what layers should be included in that, and having different local data experts really contribute their time and energy into making this tool great. So thank you to those of you who participated in that. And then the build phase for the tool was really the Trust for Public Lands technical team who built the interface and the website for the tool itself. And then we are in the integrate phase, which is, of course, what I'm doing now here, and then doing a lot of different in-person training opportunities to really show everyone the tool because it is free and publicly accessible. So making sure people are aware of it to use it in their own unique scope of work. And then lastly, just wanted to mention that we are committed to annually updating the tool. So that is really important to think about with, especially data is only as great as it is updated. So we're very excited to continue our partnership with TPL and the Watershed Alliance to continue to update the tool. All right, and then lastly, I'll jump into the tool in a second here, but just want to show quickly the study area of the tool that you'll see, which is the map on the right. So it is a sub-watershed-based boundary of the tool. It covers Lake, DuPage, Cook, and Will counties. And it is a parcel level based analysis when you zoom in. So that is a really unique feature as well. You can really get to that small grain scale as well as that zoomed out scale. And then, of course, like I mentioned in the technical advisory team, local data, local knowledge really was key to making this unique and to really make it the best it could be for our region. There's a lot of other GIS-based tools that I'm sure a lot of people use in their work, but this one is, we really tried to cater to geographic needs and opportunities. So, and there's a couple other stats that I won't highlight, but it is pretty big. It covers about 1,300 square miles. So it's a pretty large area, which is why we had to come to a point where we had to narrow down the boundary and we couldn't include everything. All right, so I will now share the tool and then we can dive into some demo aspects. Okay, so here's the URL at the top, but you can access the tool by going to chicagoriver.org. You could go to the Trust for Public Lands website, or you could do a quick Google search for Natural Solutions Tool and it will come up and take you to this web page. So this is the landing page for the tool itself. As you start to scroll, you'll see these different icons. The tool itself lives in the mapping portal, so that is where we'll be in the demo primarily, but I also wanted to highlight some of these other icons that are important that I think really help me when I'm using the tool as well. So if you aren't super familiar with GIS, we do have this user guide, which is super helpful for, let's say you're in the tool and you're scrolling around and you don't know what to click on, that has some accessible language there. And then the data description I will open up for us. So you just click on the icon and it will open up. And this really talks about all the different data layers in the tool. So there are about 100 plus data layers in the tool. So it can be easy to not know what you're looking at or want just some more information about the data itself and where it's coming from, right? So we created this, of course, as well for transparency's sake. We want people to use the tool in a community meeting, you know, out there in your own work, so you have the confidence to say where the data is coming from. So as you start to scroll, you'll see, for example, we can go to watershed boundaries and it'll say what that is, and then it will say where it's coming from, US Geological Survey. Same with all the other data sets. So I like to have this open when I'm using the tool. All right, I'll go back to the landing page and then you continue to scroll and you'll just see some more text about the vision for the project, which I mentioned earlier in the slides, and then the modeling objectives. So I'll pause here for a second because these really are the key elements we decided with our Watershed Alliance and our technical team to categorize the data set. So we have healthy, thinking about public health, equity, equitable, biodiverse. So where are the habitat opportunities and core areas to protect? Protected, so thinking about water resiliency, flooding, protecting existing waterways and wetlands, and then connectivity. So where are those trail gaps that we need to fill in? And then again, some logos of our partners who helped create the tool. And I will enter the tool now itself for the demo. So you just click on the mapping portal, yeah, like I did right now. And we'll give it a second to boot up. Right, so it will load like any GIS tool sometimes. All right, So it functions similar to any other interactive map that you may be familiar with. So the map will be on the right side of the screen, and then the functionalities of the tool live on the left side. So you can use your mouse to zoom around into different areas, or you can use this plus and minus button. We also have the option to use different base maps or background maps. So let's say you're more zoomed in and you want to use imagery or a satellite-based map to see the lay of the land. You can turn that one on and it will load up. But we'll just go back to topographic for now. And we also have this address search bar. So let's say immediately you're using the tool and you want to zoom to an area you're interested in. That's what you would put in here. And then I'll go into some of the functionalities today for the demo. I won't have time to show all of them, but definitely encourage you to spend some time on your own looking at the different functionalities that I don't show today, or reach out with any questions. So first, we'll start with the analysis results. So actually, first, I will zoom out to the default boundary. So to do that, you can click on the home button to default extent. And this is super helpful. Sometimes you're zooming around in the tool, you might get lost. So I like to click this home button to take me back. So we'll start here. And then immediately, I'll also mention what turns on first is the study area of the tool or the boundary, which is on the slide I showed earlier. And then we have the parks and natural areas, which is that green layer. So those two layers automatically turn on when you open the tool, and they can be found under overlay, context data. Sometimes I do like to turn off the parks data just so it's not overlaying with any other data. So I'll turn that off for now. But I'll start with the analysis results. So the first layer I'm going to turn on is the overall stacked priorities layer. So to turn on a layer, pretty easy, you just click that circle you see. And then to expand, you click a folder to see the more data sets. So also another note, always click the plus button. That shows the legend for the data and what you're looking at. So here we're looking at overall stacked priorities. So this is really a vision data set, I like to say, but really what it is it's combining, as you see, healthy, equity, biodiversity, protected, connected. It is combining all of these data sets, so many data sets, into one overall stacked priority. So this layer is really thinking about where is the need and the opportunity to really, you could do projects, advocacy to address all of these multi-benefits that we're looking at. So public health, equity, biodiversity, and so on. So really, we were kind of excited. Our friends team looked at the tool right when it was launched, and we saw a lot of the river systems light up. So the Chicago Sanitary Ship Canal is really evident in thinking about that multi-benefit approach. And then some of the south and west sides of the city, as well as, I'll zoom in a little here. A lot of us might be familiar with the Calumet region. There's a lot of partners doing some great projects there, which really substantiates the need for investment. As we see, it's really dark for a very high priority for achieving multi-benefits. So, and then we can see Lake County as well has some of those, some of their natural areas really light up, probably for biodiversity and some other measures. So that is the overall stacked layer. And like I kind of mentioned, the very high is the darkest orange. So thinking about where are those target areas for investment, need, opportunity, and then the more lower priorities are the lighter orange. So you can also go to the individual objectives, of course. So we'll turn on healthy. And when you open that folder, you see all the different data sets. So we'll turn on the overall healthy stacked priority, similar to the one I just showed. It's again another orange. So the darkest orange, the very high need for investment in public health. So we can see here some of the west side, south side of the city, as well as some of the west suburbs really highlight for the need for investment in public health. And again, this layer is taking all of these that you see here and combining them into one overall stacked layer. But you can also turn on the individual layers to see their priorities. So let's look at PM 2.5. So this is a measure reflected to think about air quality and pollution there. So as a lot of us probably might know, the Chicago Sanitary Ship Canal and the west side of the city has a lot of industry. So we can see already here, there's a very high concentration of PM 2.5 here, which really substantiates the need for investment for public health measures. So let's turn that off, but you can click on any of them individually as well as that overall. And we'll just click on, I'll show equity as well. So if we turn on overall equity, again, the same thing, but you'll see these are the layers that are contributing to that. And then quickly, I'll end that with some questions that I get in the trainings are really, what does a very high priority mean? How did you decide what is a high priority versus what isn't? And that's a good question. And that's where you would go to this data description that I pointed at earlier, which again, as a reminder, you can access right here on the landing page. So when you go here, you can switch over to Analysis Results tab. And then let's scroll to PM 2.5, because we were just looking at that. So here we go. You can see the very high concentrations. This is what they did, the 10 to 12. High was 9 to 10, and then so on and so on. So that's where you would want to reference for thinking about what is a very high priority. Okay, so that is the analysis result. So that is the uniqueness. It's really more of a prioritization-based analysis for thinking about that strategy, right? Where should we focus our efforts? Where should we implement a project? Things like that. But now I will focus or turn it over to the overlay data. So right under analysis results, this I would say is more supplementary data sets, raw data sets, things I like to reference when maybe I just want to see like maybe a neighborhood and I want to look at some of the raw data for land use, or again, PM 2.5, you can see the raw data in the overlay section. So that's, again, if you go to context data, that's where the parks and boundary are. So we do have, of course, administrative boundaries. So maybe for the rest of the demo, I'll have the city of Chicago boundary on, just so we can kind of look at that with the data. But you can also turn on, maybe let's keep on county boundaries as well. We have state house, state senate district, watershed boundaries, of course, Chicago community areas, and so on. And then I'll show quickly a couple layers. We have this tab called Green Infrastructure Considerations. This is really thinking about maybe you want to implement a green infrastructure project and you're curious, what types of data would I want to know? That's where this would fall. But you can also just find any data you want to look at here. It doesn't have to be for a green infrastructure project, but that was the thinking behind that. So I will turn on, for example, elevation. So when you click that, again, I like to turn on the legends. You can see what you're looking at. This is a beautiful layer, but you can also see really the river system as well. So, you know, with the low points of the elevation. Right. And then one other one I'll turn on that we did just do the first update of the tool a couple months ago. So a couple new layers I'll point out. One that we just added is this NOAA impervious surface. So to turn that on, I'll turn on the legend. And this is a binary data set. So it's really showing areas not impervious versus impervious surfaces. So impervious meaning thinking about pavement, parking lot, things like that exacerbate the heat island effect, right? So I'll zoom in to downtown Chicago. I'm sure some of us might know there's a lot of pavement and it can get kind of hot downtown. So that's where you'll really see it's really landlocked and not as much not impervious surface, whereas the lakefront you can see has that. And this is a really powerful layer. It's super, super fine resolution. So you can really zoom in and see how detailed it gets. All right, so turn that off and zoom back out to my default extent. And then I'll just turn on maybe one or two more. Let's turn on equitable layer. So another new one we added in the update is red line districts. So this is really important for thinking about equity and past harm done with land use and some other policies. So we included this based off feedback at some of the trainings for the new update. And then I'll turn on, for biodiversity, we have core habitat, So one layer that we also added in the update, I'm excited by some of the update layers if you can't tell, is this birds of concern habitat. So you can see there's a lot, as some of us might know by the lakefront, but these are patches. So maybe you want to reference the tool if there's a development that's coming into your neighborhood and you want to see, is this a birds of concern habitat? You could turn on this layer. But that is really the purpose of the overlay data. Lots more layers that I encourage you to explore on your own. But the next tool that I will show is a parcel report. So I'm actually going to zoom to an area that I'm interested in. Pull it up ahead of time because this one does take a second or two, but you can type in an address that you're interested in, like I said, or maybe you know the area on a map, you can just zoom in to that area. And what you'll notice is as you start to zoom into the tool, these purple polygons will turn on automatically when you start zooming in. And just so you know, that is located under overlay and it's called parcels. So if you don't want to see them and you're looking at other data, you can always turn them off as well. But any purple polygon you can click on and generate a parcel report. So immediately you'll click on a parcel and you'll get a ton of information. You'll see the ID, you'll see the owner, the address, the acres, and all the administrative boundaries, different green infrastructure considerations. So tons of different data. But you can create a parcel report to have it laid out in this nice PDF format. So to do that, you'll just click Create Parcel Profile Report. And in about a minute or two, you will get this PDF report. But I did it ahead of time just for time's sake. And this is what it will look like. So after a minute or two, this is what you will get downloaded. So again, you'll see some of that information that you saw in the pop-up, but now it is in a PDF format, along with an image and the satellite-based map of the parcel you clicked on. So I did this one actually because early when we launched the tool, we worked with some residents in Glenview. They had some concerns about a golf course redevelopment here in Glenview, and because it is in a core habitat area. So we were interested because with the timing of the tool's launch, we wanted to see if it intersected with some of those layers we had in the tool. So as you continue to scroll, again, you'll see Cook County, Senate House District. Again, these could be really key for advocacy if you want to know what parcel maybe falls under what representative district. And then you'll continue scrolling. You'll see it's not vacant, it's a golf course, so that's the land use. You could see the watershed, Huck Watershed 12 name, which this again was a new addition to the update, which we were excited to see because now maybe you want to refer back to a watershed plan and see if there were any projects in that plan for this parcel. You could always cross-reference. And then as you start to scroll, you'll see the overall stack priorities as well as the individual priorities for those objectives in the tool. So what the presence means is when you see a presence, yes or no, that just is referring to if it intersects with any of those orange priorities that we saw in the analysis results. So does it intersect with the priority for connected? No, probably because there's no existing trails near the parcel. But as you scroll, let's look at equity. There is presence of population over 64 priority there. And then this is the one I'll focus on because we saw there was a ton. Of course, we did know this, but we wanted to check it with our data. But it is a habitat sensitive area. There's a lot of existing core habitat near this development. So we gave them the parcel report and we're excited to have them use it in their own advocacy. So that is kind of the purpose of the parcel report, is to bring it to a meeting, print it out, use it for a grant application. Really, you want to just start to build that story when you're looking at the parcel report. It can be a lot of information, but what is it telling you? You know, if there's a lot of public health presence, maybe you need to think about a project on this site, or maybe it can help emphasize a grant application for some public health investment. All right, so that is what a parcel report is. I will go back to the tool and show one last demo. So let's again zoom back to the default. And then I will show what a 10-minute walk impact report is. So if you scroll down on the left side, you'll see this 10-minute walk impact report. You can expand that. And then you can either do a polygon or you can do a line. But basically, this 10-minute impact report will generate whatever shape or line you draw. It will buffer a 10-minute walk with those demographics of who lives within a 10-minute walk to the shape you drew or the line you drew. So maybe that's a project, maybe that's just something you're interested in to see the demographics for. So again, I'm going to zoom to an area on the map that I'm curious about, looking at the demographics. So I'm going to zoom, there's this parcel, and maybe I'll switch on space map so we can see the lay of the land. So this is along, we have Bubbly Creek to the right, and then the Chicago Sanitary Ship Canal to the west. This is a parcel called the Damon Silos that Friends has been doing some advocacy work around, as well as our other partners. And when the tool again was available, it really lined up with some of the advocacy going on for this site with an approaching development. So we were interested to see who lives within a 10-minute walk to the site, who will be impacted by whatever comes to the site. So you click the polygon if you're doing a polygon, and then you'll just start drawing your shape. I'm gonna try and draw this parcel here. And then you'll double click to complete. You can name it whatever you want. Name it Damon Silos, parcel maybe. Okay. Save. And then you can do a 10-minute walk, but the Trust for Public Land recently updated this feature. So you can also now do, if you want to do a cycle, a drive with different times, you can do that as well now. But we'll just do the 10-minute walk for the sake of this demo. And then all you do, tap to run the analysis, and this pop-up will generate. They'll say it takes a couple minutes to complete. So just letting you know, this one does take like 2 or 3 minutes as opposed to the parcel report. So click OK. And then we'll wait a second, but I did this again ahead of time just for time's sake. This is what it will look like. So once that generates, you'll get the option to download a PDF, and similar to the parcel report, you'll see the name of the project. The first thing I like to look at is this bottom right map. So the green shape is what you drew, is what we drew here, and then this orange shape is thinking about the 10-minute walk demographics. It is grabbing information on the second page. And the first thing I'll point out, you might notice the shape, of course, might look a little different. And that's because the Trust for Public Land uses a transportation network to actually make a real 10-minute walk, so you're not jumping over a building or anything like that. So it's not that perfect circle. And we all know the highways over here. So as you continue scrolling, the second page is really where all the really fascinating information is. So you'll see we have 118 total people living within a 10-minute walk. We have about 44 households, and then you start to see percentage of children, 26%, 62% adults, 40%, so majority low income, majority Hispanic, almost 60, and then some Asian as well at almost 23%. So this is really fascinating to think about, especially with advocacy. We were thinking about this parcel of who would be impacted, right? It would be primarily Hispanic, low-income, Asian population, mostly adults, but some children as well. So this can be really empowering for advocacy, or let's say for a project, and you want to know, maybe there's a lot of children near my project. Should I do some playground aspect or something like that to serve the community? So I'll go back to the tool, but that is the 10-minute walk report. Oh, and great, it finished in the tool. So this is what it will look like. And you can look at the charts as well here. But to do the PDF report, you'll just click that and download it. And you can also, this one has the option, you can download the shapefile for the buffered area as well. Okay, we will clear that. And then I will actually end the demo today here for the tool because there's a couple other different features, but just for time's sake, I won't show everything, but thank you so much. I will flip back actually to the slides with some contact information. Slide. All right, so just ending with thank you so much for listening to the demo today of the Natural Solutions tool. I hope that you can explore it on your own time. And I have here my information and contact on the screen. So please do reach out if you have questions on the tool or you want some more training or maybe just conversation about how you could use the tool in your own work. So thank you so much and hope you have a nice rest of your day.